a weird mental health day, and it started with scrolling through Instagram Reels, which I normally try not to do, and I really try not to engage with short form content in general, just because I know it's not good for my mental health, and so I shouldn't be doing it, but sometimes I do. And today, what got me was seeing like a video of a man that rescued a kitten off the side of a road, nursed it back to health, and then looking at comments on it and seeing how people will find anything to get upset about. And in the video, I think he was feeding the cat like wet food or something. And then the comments were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would feed your cat that. Like, that's ridiculous. Or like, oh, cats belong in the wild. You shouldn't have brought that into your home. Or I bet this was totally staged. Just a lot of negativity, and the fact that some people will find the smallest thing to get so upset about. And then scrolled again, and it was a video of someone responding to backlash about another backlash thing that didn't really matter. And it reminded me of that Bo Burnham song, That Funny Feeling. And in it, there's a line in the song where he was like, the backlash to the backlash to the thing that just begun. And I feel like I see that so much on social media, and I think a lot of people can maybe relate to that. And on top of that, scrolling and having one video be of like an orphan child and being very tearful, and then the next video being of like a cat doing something funny, followed by a person on vacation. And just the like 0 to 100 emotional whiplash of short form content just got to me today. So I've spent the past like 2 hours just like sitting on a chair, not knowing what to do. And I was like, okay, should I go for a walk? Because it's really nice out, but I really don't want to. Like, I should probably get out of the house and do something. I don't really want to sit at home. I don't feel drawn to work on any of my current projects. And I was just thinking of like, okay, what is one thing that would make me feel better right now if I could do one thing today? And that would be going to the yarn store. I typically only buy yarn every couple months, especially over the past year, because about a year and a half ago, I just bought so much yarn. And so I've just had a large stash, but now my stash has kind of been pared down, and I have plans for all the yarn that I have, which is great. And I have a lot of guilt whenever I go shopping for yarn. Just because there's always a thought in my brain of like, oh, well, you could be buying something from the thrift store and unraveling that. Or like, do we really need to be spending this money right now? And so I usually talk myself out of it. But I think today I'm going to give myself permission to just go to a yarn store. I don't have to buy anything. I might walk out with nothing. But if I find something I like, I can buy it because I do have the money this month. I feel like that would make me feel really good. I have a pattern that I've been wanting to do for like 2 years now. And so I think maybe I might go into the shop and look with the intention of trying to find something for that project. And if I don't find anything I like, then that's fine. But we'll see how I feel after that. I don't think it's healthy. It's weird how mentally complicated something as simple as going to a yarn store can be at times. Because my brain just goes through all of this stuff of like, oh my gosh, shopping at all is just contributing to overconsumption, and that doesn't align with my values. And not buying something secondhand isn't good for the environment. And I'm of the generation where owning a home is not a given, and that's kind of a maybe I'll be able to someday kind of thing. And there's all the guilt about, well, spending money on something as luxurious as yarn. And then there's this other part of me that's like, should I be relying on external stimuli to get me out of a bad mood? Shouldn't I be dealing with these feelings in another way? So I'm just gonna choose to not overthink it today. Give myself permission, go to the store, look for some yarn, and if I have the energy when I get home, I think I'll cast on that project. I do think this is also going to be a short video, and this was not the video I had planned for today. I actually set up for a whole different thing and like got ready for it and was like, yeah, no, this is not happening today. I am not in the right mindset to be doing something of that scale, and it would have involved a lot of mental effort. The nice thing about this YouTube channel is when I do post videos, it's because I want to. Pretty early on, I took 2 weeks off and had so much anxiety about that of like, oh my gosh, I just started this YouTube channel. I can't already be taking a week off. But I think it's nice because it reassures me and anybody watching that if you're seeing something up on my channel, it's because I wanted to put it out there and because I had the energy for it, because I was in the right mindset for it. If I don't feel like something is right, then I'm not going to post it. I've stopped myself at different parts, so there are videos that I never finished and got partway through, or I started editing and just didn't feel like I wanted to put that on the internet. So if you do end up seeing this, I don't know if I'll even post this video. It's because I wanted to share it. I only say that because I watch some creators, and when you've been following them for a long time, you can kind of tell when they're in a bit of a funk, or you can tell that their heart's just not in it. And I often feel really bad that they feel like pressured to be posting stuff all the time and just have a difficult time giving themselves permission to take a break. But there are certain creators lately that have started taking breaks and making it feel okay. And I want to make sure that I'm a part of that group that's being like, yeah, it's okay to like not be doing this all the time. It's okay to just prioritize like a mental, emotional health. Anyways, I have some rice on the stove, so I'm gonna go check on that and make sure that I'm not accidentally frying it. And then I'm gonna put on an outfit that I feel good in, which could mean a lot of things, probably something very comfortable. And then I'm gonna go to the yarn store. I'm feeling better already, just like thinking about this. This feels like a good plan. Can you hear the sweet purr of my 2004 Prius? All right, I'm turning this off because I'm not talking to you while I'm driving. Some people do that when they're like filming videos, which is wild to me. I do not have the ability to multitask like that. So, safe driving. Hi. I made it to the yarn store. I haven't gone in yet. And I just want to say that I already feel like a lot better just from getting dressed and going outside and feeling sun on my face and listening to like really good music. So I'm feeling a lot better. I'm gonna go into the store now and see if I can find some yarn for the project I'm thinking of, or just yarn in general, or maybe I won't find any. We'll see. Also, does anybody else like overthink what they wear when they go to like a yarn shop? Because I'm like, I need to wear something that I've knit, but is it like a cop-out or weird if I'm wearing something that I knit? I'm like, well, I wear things that I knit all the time anyways. So like, I don't want to specifically go out of my way and not wear something that I made. And then it's like, okay, so if I'm wearing something that I made, what if it's like really overcomplicated, or what if what if people judge me? That's my entire thought process right now, is what if someone judges me? But also, I look really cute. Look at this top combo. Okay, I am done shopping. I did buy some yarn that I'm very excited about, and like talked myself out of it about 17 different times just to be like, buy the dang yarn, it's not that deep. Yeah, and I feel good about this. I have a very specific project in mind, and I'm really happy I finally found a yarn that I think is like worthy of the project. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'll like probably head home. I'm debating doing a quick stop before I go home, and then maybe I'll wind up some yarn, watch a really cute TV show, like an episode of Murder, She Wrote, maybe. Okay, I am gonna roll my windows down though because the sun is beating in and it is so warm, and my car does not have air conditioning, and I don't need to be running air conditioning when it's cold outside anyways.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations. Oh, 'Cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken. 'Cause you glue all the pieces back together.
I am back from my out of the house adventure, so I'm going to put on some comfortable clothes and proceed with the rest of my day. Feeling, I would say 30 to 40% better than I was earlier. Like before, if I was running at like a 20%, I'm at like a 60 or 70 right now. Comfy clothes, that'll help. I'm comfortable now. Okay, let me show you what I got. Wait, I gotta get something else. Okay, so here's what I got. This is yarn, in case you couldn't already tell. I have never heard of this brand before, but it's called Spun Right Round Hand-Dyed Yarn Company from Rochester, New York in the United States. This colorway is called A Wink and a Nod, and I was just really drawn to it because it's such a gentle baby blue color with like yellow speckles in it. So I feel like it's gonna look like a cross between being variegated and speckled, and I am a speckled yarn lover. This is fingering weight, and so my plan is to mix it actually and hold double one strand of this and one strand of this cream cashmere yarn that I have. I've been wanting to use this for a while, and it's time. Between this yarn being $30 a hank and this yarn being, I don't remember how much, but expensive, this is easily going to be the bougiest, most expensive sweater I will ever make. Well, that's not true. I will have ever made. This yarn is not what I expected to get for this project, but it just makes me happy and it feels right. So my plan for the rest of this sleepy Sunday is maybe winding up just one of these and then making a swatch with the two of these just to make sure that it'll work for the project I have in mind. I don't think I'm gonna cast it on today or anything because I have some other projects I want to work on too now. I'm feeling more motivated to work on my other projects, which is good. But I do want to make a somewhat sizable swatch with these, so we'll see how that goes. I think I'm just gonna wind one of these for now since I'm just doing a swatch. Like I don't need to wind all of this and store it for who knows how long. You wanna help? Right, but look at the camera if you're gonna sit there. You can't just look at me the whole time. So the interesting double-edged sword that a lot of us know from social media is the more popular you get, the more attention you get, then the greater the likelihood that you'll start receiving negative comments. And up until my essentials versus extra knitting supply video, I was not popular enough to be receiving any sort of negative comments. But with that video at this time having like 92,000 views, it got popular enough to get negative comments, and it was something that I approached with a lot of curiosity because I wasn't sure how I was going to be reacting to a lot of that stuff. And that was going to be the big determining factor on if I could do YouTube long term or not. Because if I was having really emotional responses to it, and if it was like, if negative comments were hitting me really hard, then YouTube and social media is probably not for me. And I don't know if happy is the right word for it, but curious and interested that I feel like I was not emotionally that affected by the negative comments, because a lot of them were so ridiculous and not intending to be helpful. They were intending to be hurtful. And they were just so dumb that like I couldn't possibly take them personally. I got like 3 comments of people being like, "It's really obnoxious how you hold your microphone. The sound quality is so much better that way, and I don't have enough money to buy like a nicer, longer range microphone. So yeah, I'm gonna hold it that way, and I don't care if you think it's obnoxious." And then a lot of the other comments that were like on the nastier side would just be people being like, "People can buy whatever they want. You should stop telling people what they can and cannot buy." And I was like, wow, you clearly did not watch the whole video if that was your takeaway. Yeah, you gotta hop down, girl. And then someone was like, "I Googled knitting journals and I did not find any in the $80 to $100 range like you said." And they had a lot going on in the comment that was like unhappy stuff. But it was just funny to me of like, okay, you definitely didn't watch the video, because I was saying that project bags, like really fancy expensive ones, can be in the $80 to $100 range. I think knitting journals are more like $20. Anyways, what I think is interesting about these comments is, one, I did not find myself being personally affected by them, and I did not dwell on them, which I'm really grateful for. 2, it's interesting to me that I responded to a lot of these and tried to be as respectful as possible in my replies, and nobody who left like a negative comment responded back, because I was looking to engage in a little bit of conversation, and almost wanting them to say it out loud and confront the fact that they're saying this to a real person. So you're not just telling a robot that you think it's dumb how they color grade. You're telling a human being that you think it's dumb how they color grade. And I don't take that personally, because I stand by my color grading. The tech I use and the editing software I use is not advanced enough for me to be doing the kind of color grading that I want to be doing. But I'm working well with what I have, and it's just my personal style, and it's not everyone's style, which is so okay. But I don't expect other people on the internet to cater to my personal style. Like, I wouldn't watch someone else's video and be like, "This isn't my aesthetic." I just wouldn't watch it if I'm bothered by it not being my aesthetic. So anyways, people who leave negative comments on videos like knitting, like, it's not a political video. I think negative comments have a place when people are saying things that are really destructive or hurtful, but in this case, on a knitting video, and people just not trying to be helpful, like, it's just dumb. So anyway, that is my whole spiel on negative comment culture in YouTube. I don't know what the goal of a lot of those people was, but it wasn't to be helpful. And then another thing is, for every negative comment I got about 250 nice comments, which is another reason to not take it personally. Like why would I dwell on your insult when 250 people said the exact opposite? Like, why would I dwell on yours and negate those other ones when you represent 0.3% of the population of people who have, like, whatever. So my point in all that is just to say, for those of you that subscribe or watch a lot of my videos, I just want to warn you that even though I really want to respond to every single comment, that's just not realistic anymore. And some days when I have really tough mental health days, I am just not going to check the comments and therefore won't be able to respond to any of them, because I know that on that specific day I might be more susceptible to being hurt by a negative comment being left. And so I'm just going to try to be self-aware about those days and know not to check. So I am so sorry if you left like a really nice comment and I didn't respond to it. It was because I was having a mental health day and I was not in a place to be like opening myself up to being hurt, because I think it's, to me, the definition of a vulnerable experience is checking the comments and even posting on social media in general. And the vulnerability part of it is, to me, vulnerability is opening yourself up to the possibility of being hurt. So some days I just need to take care of myself and know that, hey, I'm not going to be vulnerable today. Like, I'm not in a place to be opening myself up to that kind of vulnerability. And some days I will be, and being like, yeah, I can handle it today. And besides that, I really don't regret anything that I said in that video. Oh, Mary. It's looking good. This is much better than my old ball winder. I also just want to mention, for clarity's sake, when I'm talking about negative comments, I'm not talking about people disagreeing with me, because that's totally different and that's not negative, that's even good. Especially in that video, I specifically asked for people, if you disagreed with me, please say in the comments, so that someone could look at that video and understand the bigger picture. You're so cute. So when I say like a negative comment, I'm talking about someone who left a comment that is designed to be hurtful, and people just being rude, straight up rude for like no reason, like it's not being called for. Oh, one more thing. I also think it's funny. 2 different people left these comments, and I just think it's so funny, where I feel like they were worried I was going to spontaneously appear wherever they live and like slap the pom-pom makers out of their hands. And they were like, are you telling me that if my granddaughter wants a pom-pom on her hat, I have to tell her no because you said that they're non-essential? It's like, lady, you very clearly missed the point of my video. If you find that pom-pom makers are very useful and you use them, have them. In no way am I telling you that it's not okay to have them. My intention is, if someone doesn't own a pom-pom maker and they've been debating it, then maybe this can add a little nuance, because there's already 100 videos saying like, yes, buy them, it's great. And I just wanted to make sure that there was a little bit more to the conversation of like, actually, you don't have to, maybe think about it first. Just adding a little barrier. So in case you're watching this, you can own your pom-pom makers and add cute little pom-poms to your granddaughter's hats. Anyways, I've spent enough time talking about this, and I'm instantly going to just forget about all of those comments because they really don't matter and they're so dumb. Pippin. No, no. Hop off, hop off. Ooh, that is like the perfect tension. Like, visually, to me, this looks really tight. But then when I feel it, I'm like, ah, no, this is nice and loose. When you wind balls, if you don't know, it's better to have them be loose. And cakes tend to be one of the tighter ways of winding a ball. Like, hanks tend to be pretty loose as long as they're not twisted too tight. And that's why it's recommended, until you actually start a project, you should probably avoid winding any of your hanks into balls. And the reasoning behind that is it can stretch out your yarn. And if you want a stretchier, bouncier fabric when you go to knit it up, it's just better to not have stretched out yarn yet. But do whatever you want. I have cakes in my stash that I have not used in like a year and a half. So for people that are very detail oriented with their crafting, that's a better procedure. But for people that don't really care, you don't really need to care. Eee. Oh, that's so satisfying. Oh, this is beautiful. It's like a baby blue with copper accents in it, little speckling all over the place. I'm definitely not gonna make a habit of buying hand-dyed yarn, especially a garment's quantity, because that's so expensive and I cannot afford to be doing that on a regular basis. This is my first time buying a garment's quantity of hand-dyed yarn. In the past, I've only ever bought like one hank at a time for like socks or a hat or some sort of accessories, and I think that that's probably what I'll do in the future because this ain't cheap. This is $30 right here. So this is gonna be a like once every 5 years kind of a thing. Unless for some reason I start getting a lot of money. I don't even know what this video is. Oh boy, come on, Pippin, it's okay. You can lay down. Honestly, I don't even know what this video is gonna be because it's the first time I've started a video without a plan for what it's gonna be. So I don't think there's any storyline here or overarching theme. I think this video is just gonna be what it is and it's over when I feel like it's over. I also promise that I'm not gonna be talking about like negative comments all the time in my videos. I feel like every person who posts YouTube videos has their own journey for this, because I knew it was a thing. I mean, everyone who's on the internet knows that negative comments are a thing, and most of us know that it can have a substantial impact on someone personally. So I was just curious what it was going to be like for me, and now I know, and I hope that it continues to be that way. I hope I continue to not let it bother me, but I do see a therapist once a week, so if something does get to me, I have help. Swatch, and I made it nice and big, so I did it 7 inches by 5 inches. And personally, when I swatch, I think it's more helpful to do it wider and then go as long as I want, but for me it's more important to get that width information. I'm not sure how it's going to work because these are both at their core if you were to look from afar, white, and this one is blue tinted white, and this one is yellow tinted white. And I was curious how the warm and cool tones would do together, but I think it's cool, and I think it's like a really dynamic, interesting fabric. I like the speckling, and the project I'm planning on doing is really interesting because it's actually pearl side out. So this is what one would be seeing instead of normally this side. So the pattern I want to use is the No Sweatshirt, and I've actually wanted to use that pattern for over a year and a half, and I just haven't casted it on, and I've been too nervous. And even looking at this, I'm like, is this special enough for the sweater? Is it? It doesn't matter. I'm overthinking it. I can tell I'm overthinking it, and so I should just go with something that I like this, and just cast on the dang project. I already bought the pattern like a year ago, which is crazy. I never buy the pattern unless I'm planning on casting that project on immediately. But I was so in love with this pattern that I bought the pattern and was like, I have to make this eventually. It has to happen. So this is going to be the yarn I will use. I will not be changing my mind. I'm just going to keep saying that until I believe it in hopes that it sinks in. Something I will say though, before I cast on the project, is I am going to block this swatch, and I'm glad I went with a nice bigger size swatch because the pattern calls for 4mm needles, but for these two yarns combined and the type of fabric that I want, I think a 4.5mm needle is going to do a little bit better for me. So I have my nice big swatch so I can math it out and adjust the pattern. I think I'll just size down 1 or 2 sizes, but I'll use my swatch to figure out exactly how much I should be sizing down. Something I tend to forget when I swatch and am like really debating if I like something or not is I forget about the bigger picture. So when I go to make the actual project and I'm done with it, I'll be looking at the project as a whole. I won't just be looking at like 1 square inch of it, analyzing that. And so it's less about, do I like how this looks from here, or do I like how it looks from here? Thank you for watching this video. Those of you that did, I know it was like short and not normal, and there wasn't a whole lot of organization to it, but that's what we got today. My job this past week has just been pretty busy, and so I feel like I just spent the whole weekend having to recover. And because I work a full-time job, the only times I can ever film is weekends and nights. And since I post, I try to at least once a week, I don't, or at least and so if I have a weekend where I just need to like mentally recover from the week I just had, then I don't have it in me to make a very long, complicated, more organized video. So I'm curious to see if I ever actually post this video, or if I'm gonna go to edit this and be like, there's nothing, I can't piece together a video out of this. But we'll see. Obviously, if you're hearing me say this and watching me as I like fiddle with my swatch here, then obviously it made it online. If you're up for it, then I will see you next week. I have a video where I just go through and finish a lot of my active projects because I had a lot of cast-ons at the same time, and I wanted to clear out a lot of those and just like minimize my whips, less to think about. We're going simple. That's kind of the theme right now for me, is just simple. I've been decluttering my house a lot lately. Does anybody else do this with their swatches? Like when you don't do ribbing, then the swatch curls up on itself. So sometimes I just embrace that, like little swatch burrito. That sound would be my cat playing with my reusable shopping bag. Get it, Mary, get it. Maybe I'll show you.